Hi there, Hyundai owners. Today in your 2017 Hyundai Accent, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install Curt's 1¼ inch trailer hitch receiver. And this is what our hitch looks like when it's installed. The cross tube is going to be visible, but the whole entirety of the hitch is tucked up so far up underneath the bumper, unless you're really getting down on your knees, you're really not even going to notice that it's there. The receiver tube is also tucked up pretty far underneath the bumper. It's a 1¼ by 1¼ inch receiver, so it's going to be great for light duty applications, really good for your accessories, and you can do some minor towing with it as well. This is going to be primarily used on a vehicle like this for bike racks or cargo carriers, stuff like that. But you can use it for a little bit of towing if you've got maybe like a lawnmower, you do a little bit of lawn care, you could probably use a small trailer and get that around to be able to get a little bit of work done. You'll secure your accessories to your hitch using a 1/2 inch hitch pin and clip. Now, one doesn't come included with this hitch, but we've got plenty available here at eTrailer. And you can also get locking ones to protect your investments. On bottom, we've got plate style safety chain loops with a kind of a small to moderate size opening. Should work out fine for these smaller hooks here. I'm a little concerned on how the bigger hooks would work. Let's take a look. But it seems to go on and off with ease. So there's plenty of room there that should accommodate most of your safety chains. This hitch features a 200-pound tongue weight, which is the force going down on top of our receiver. And that's going to be enough for a 2-bike platform rack loaded up. You might be able to get away with some larger bike racks as long as you keep the weight of your bikes down. You do want to keep in mind that your tongue weight is the value of anything you've got in your receiver, so that'll include the weight of your bike rack plus all the bikes you've got on it. And it'll be the same thing with a cargo carrier. It'd be the weight of the cargo carrier plus the weight. And with 200 pounds, you can get a cargo carrier on here and get about 150 pounds of gear onto it. So that still could free up quite a bit of room inside your vehicle for either an additional passenger or some more gear. It also features a 2,000-pound gross towing capacity, which is how much that you can pull behind it. And 2,000 pounds isn't a whole lot, but you can definitely pull some stuff. If you've got a John boat, you could pull that with it. A small utility trailer, maybe a jet ski trailer as well. Campers and pop-ups are probably a little bit more than what this is capable of. But as always, I also want you to verify in your vehicle's owner's manual and ensure you don't exceed any of its towing capacities. So now I've got some measurements for you to help you when deciding on accessories. From the center of our hitch pin hole to the edge of our bumper here, we're right at about 5½ inches. And this is important when determining if your accessories will contact the bumper when inserted and if they can be placed in the upright storage position without contacting the bumper. And then from the ground to the top inside edge of our receiver tube, we're right at about 10¼ inches. This is important when determining if you need a drop, a rise, or a raised shank on your accessories. And since this one does sit so low, I would recommend a raised shank on your accessories. So now that we've covered some of the features of our hitch, why don't you follow along with us in the shop and we'll show you how to get it installed. We'll begin our installation here underneath the vehicle. The first thing we want to do is just check to see which holes we have in the bottom of our frame. So on the passenger side here, we can see we've got a hole here and we've got the rubber plug in the bottom of the frame. We can go ahead and pull out the rubber plug here, and we're going to check the other side to make sure we've got these same 2 holes, which we do on this vehicle. If you don't have one of these holes here, you may have to drill out the hole, and if that's the case, you'll just want to lift your hitch up and line it up with the other holes, and then mark that spot so you can drill out the hole. Now ours has it, so we don't need to do any of that, so we can just start feeding our hardware in. So we're going to take the coiled wire that comes in our kit. We're going to push it up through the hole, and you might want to put a little bend on it just to help angle it back towards this large hole, because that's where we're going to feed our hardware in to get it over to here. So then we'll pull the coiled end out of the larger hole here. Take the spacer that comes in your kit, slide it over the coiled end, and then thread your carriage bolt on to your fish wire. Once we get this threaded on here, we can take our pieces and poke them up into the frame there and pull them back out until it hangs out just like this. To get our other bolt in, we're going to use the reverse fish wire trick. So take the other fish wire that comes in your kit, you're going to take your spacer, put it over top, and then thread your bolt down into the coiled wire. We can then take our bolt, we're going to push it up into the frame, take our spacer, push it up into the frame, and then just pull it right back down. And then we can unthread our coiled end here, because we're going to use this over on the other side to get our hardware installed over there. On the passenger side, you only need one bolt. We're not going to reverse Fishwire a bolt into the access hole over here. We're just feeding in the single bolt into this rearmost hole. Now with an extra set of hands, we're going to lift it into position. We'll get our passenger side over the exhaust first, feed our fish wires down through the appropriate holes in our hitch, and then when we lift it up, this piece here needs to go on top of your tow hook attachment there. And then also be careful not to push your hardware into the frame in the back. We'll then just take one of the nuts that comes included with our kit, thread it on. If you get one started on each side, it'll hold the hitch up, making it easier to install the rest of your hardware. When you're trying to get your bolt started, if you push forward or backward on the hitch, it kind of puts side pressure on it, and that'll help keep you from pushing the bolt up into the frame when you're trying to get these started. And we'll go ahead and get the other bolt that's passing down through the frame started as well. You can just pull your fish wires off of there. We can then head back to the center where we'd lined up this tab here with our tow hook. We're going to take the hex head bolt that comes in our kit, place a flat washer on it, slide it through the large spacer, and then this is actually going to go up through the bottom and thread into a nut. And this is the smaller nut that comes in your kit. You're going to have one that's a little bit smaller in diameter. That's for this hex head bolt. We can now go back and tighten our hardware. We're going to use a 17mm socket for our frame bolts. And then we'll use a 15mm socket and wrench for the center bolt. We can then go back and torque our hardware to the specifications outlined in our instructions. And we'll get our middle one as well. You can find your torque specs in your instructions. They do vary depending on the size of your bolts. And now that we've got all of our hardware torqued down, we're ready to load up our favorite accessories and hit the road. And that completes our look at Curt's 1 1/4 inch trailer hitch receiver on our 2017 Hyundai Accent.